Hello and welcome to my next smartwatch review. Today we have the ET485. Now, out of the bag, this just came in the mail today. In the bag was an extra band just thrown into the bag alongside the box. So I'll mention that it comes with a spare band. I'm just going to show you the watch, what it looks like coming out of the box, what all comes out of the box. Then I'm going to go charge this up, wear it for multiple days, and then come back with my full, fair, and honest review. So we have the watch itself. It's a beautiful looking round display. I don't even know all the specifications of this watch yet, but it's got a protective cover on the front. It's got another protective cover on the rear. And underneath, I imagine, will be a charging cable and a set of instructions. There you go. Here is the user guide. Nice, big, easy to read color instructions, so that's nice. This watch is telling me it will do EKG, ECG, EKG. It should do blood sugar and blood lipids, I believe, if I can just find the English portion. Anyways, I'll get to the full review in a few minutes, but it also comes with the charging cable. This is going to be a little magnetic charger that snaps on the back right there. Let me press and hold the power button to see if it comes with any juice out of the box, and it does. So let me go charge it up, and through the magic of editing, you will see my full, fair, honest review in just a few seconds. Okay, I am back after wearing this watch for 5 days, and I think I've got to warn you now. I think this is going to be sort of a lengthy review. First of all, let's turn that brightness all the way up. Now, I had it at the dimmest to save battery life, and except for the very dimmest setting, it's usually bright enough to read that display indoors, but when you're out in bright sunlight, you will need to bump that brightness up to be able to see it. We can get into settings. If we go to the screen display, screen time on, I'm going to bump that up for the purposes of this review. And if you haven't seen my reviews, you know I usually set this down to 5 seconds, and I turn the lift your wrist feature off while I'm assessing these watches and wearing them for the week, just to save battery life. Now, if we go back to the start, I've been wearing it 5 days, and it still has 79% battery life, and I have not recharged this yet. Now, let me tell you how I generally use a smartwatch, and that is I wear it all day, I sleep in it, and then I sync it with the smartphone in the morning and then turn the Bluetooth off again. So I'm not a heavy user of the Bluetooth and being constantly tethered to my phone via Bluetooth, so I don't usually take advantage of all the calling and notification features, but this guy will have amazing battery life in it should you choose to do that. So let's swipe down, get into the settings, get into info. There you see it's the ET485. Now, if you just look at the styling of this watch, it's one of my favorites. It's a beautiful looking watch. It kind of hints at like an octagonal shape around this side of the body and on this side, but it's kind of round on the top and bottom. It has 2 buttons, one on the upper right, and really just a sensor for the EKG on the bottom right, and that's for EKG body fat, and we'll get into that later in this review. You can turn it on to tether it with your phone to make and receive Bluetooth calls. That works fine. There is your silent mode, okay? So when you swipe down, those are the settings you get to. And you can go through health monitor, and you can turn on your heart rate monitor. You can set a heart rate alert, your blood pressure monitor, your blood oxygen monitor. I have these set to automatically take. Components mode or monitoring, that's blood components, that's blood lipids, and yeah, we'll get there when we get there. Temperature monitor, now this is to set it on to take automatic temperatures. On day 1, I set this on. And then I realized it was actually chewing through battery life pretty fast, so I turned it back off. Scientific sleep mode, blood glucose monitoring mode, and a stress monitor mode. You can turn all those on or off to go to measure automatically in the background. We already talked about the screen displays. You can get into watch faces, and you can look at some other ones here. I'm obviously using the one I like the most, and I went into the app and found this one and downloaded it. So it was not one of the default ones. Notifications, you can set this to pull in notifications from your phone, your SMS messages, and you can connect various different messaging platforms: Facebook, Gmail, Instagram, Kakao Talk, Line, LinkedIn Messenger, QQ, Skype, Snapchat, Telegram, TikTok, Twitter X, WeChat, WhatsApp, and other. And that's a lot of connectivity options in there, so that's really neat. You can set the language, you can look at the QR code to get the app. The app here is called H-Band, and I'm going to say this like 10 times so people don't leave comments asking what the name of the app is. It's H-Band, and you can scan that with your phone and install that app to pair with the watch. You can power it off, you can do a factory reset, and then you get back to that device info here. Now, if we swipe up, this gets you into your notifications. Here is a text message that came through. I've tested this, it works just fine. You can delete that and clear that message, okay? So that is when you're at the main screen and you swipe up, you get to all your various notifications that you've turned on through the other apps. If we press this top right button a second time, we can get into our workout modes. This has lots of different workout modes in here, so bear in mind this is not a GPS watch. This is I would call it a health management watch. It'll monitor activities and various fitness activities and sports, but really it will only keep track of your time engaged in the activity, the estimate of kilocalorie burn, and your heart rate throughout that workout. So there's plenty different options in here. Here's your heart rate, blood oxygen saturation, EKG, blood components, body comp. Yeah, this will do body comp. Your activity monitor for the day, and that's your steps, your heart rate, your kilocalorie burn. It's just sort of a progress bar. Your sleep from the night before, all right? And you can look at your stress levels. I'm going to actually, no, I'll measure this in another place in real time. But it'll tell you whether you're normal or under stress or not under stress. This will do blood pressure, body temp, blood glucose. Well, let's do a body temp measurement here so you can see what this does in real time. This is really measuring skin temperature and estimating body temp, but I think it does a fairly credible job. And I'm probably going to say this next phrase probably 5 times throughout this review as well. So please don't complain that I'm being repetitive, but it's important to stress. This is not a medical device. Do not trust any health assessment to this watch. Do not infer any sort of medical type information about your body. This is really, they say for reference only. I would say for entertainment only. It is not a medical device. Don't treat it as such. But it'll do stress, blood pressure, body temp. Let's do a blood pressure in real time here so you can see how long that takes. It's probably going to be up a little bit. I'm just back from the gym, and I really shouldn't be talking through this while it's trying to take the measurement. But let's let it go and see what it does, just so you can see how long it takes in real time. And you can see the progress bar around the outside of the dial here, and you see it slowly dropping to less and less time as we get to completion here, and it'll pop up with my blood pressure. Again, this is not a medical device. Don't trust this. Go get your blood pressure measured by a real doctor or a real FDA approved device. So there's blood pressure, body temp, we looked at it. Blood glucose, let's do one of these in real time. And this is using the green diodes in the background there. I don't know if you can see it. This has both the green and the red diodes. And okay, this is what, time 3 or time 4? This is not a medical device. Don't trust any of these supposed non-invasive blood glucose smartwatches to be accurate for blood glucose. They're not medical devices. The only way to achieve that is with an FDA-approved device that draws your blood. Your MET, that's basically a metabolic measure of your, essentially your calories burned while you're at rest versus the calories burned while you're active, and it gives you a ratio, and as athletes especially can infer some things from that. Heart rate variability, health at a glance. Now here I can tap this and it will take all the various health measurements at the same time, and this is really cool if you just want to get everything done at one time and see your numbers for reference only. This is a really neat feature, and I don't think I've seen this in any other smartwatches, but when this finishes, we'll scroll up and we can see the measurements that it made here. And again, it's going to be all those health management type parameters. Okay. Boom. So here's my heart rate, my average, and it tells me no abnormalities found right at the top. That's a summary. There's my blood pressure. There's my blood oxygen saturation, or SPO2. It tells me I'm in the good zone. There's my stress. Tells me I'm in the relaxed zone. There's my body temperature. So it did all those at one time. Pretty cool, huh? This is where this review gets a little bit emotional for me, because this will measure or report some sort of emotion. So you press this and it comes back, and I don't know how it does this or what it's doing. I don't understand it, but it comes back and will basically try to tell me what kind of mood I'm in and if I'm under stress. I'm guessing this is some variation on heart rate variability, but I don't really know, and it's not really explained. But I do want to show you this feature because I don't think I've seen it before. It tells me I'm at a 6, kind of elevated. Hey, that's because I'm happy to talk with you folks. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you've carved a few minutes out of your day to spend time watching my video. So there's that emotion. Here is a fatigue, a very similar type measurement. I will let this go, and it'll come back with a very similar type of icon. And again, I don't really know what this is telling me. I don't know if it's heart rate or the number of breaths per minute or heart rate variability. I have no idea how it's calculating this number, but it does have this feature, and I want to show it to you. I feel that's my job, is just to show you these features and not necessarily be technical support or explain everything that's going on, because in some cases I just don't understand. You can do some breath training. Here's where you would get to your phone and your keypad to make calls. We'll do that in a minute. I'm not connected to my phone right now. You can pull in your contacts from your phone if you wish, your call history. Yeah, I made a test call there the other day. Notifications, phone, music. You can control the music on your phone from the watch when tethered via Bluetooth. Cycle tracking, if you like to track bicycles. Yep, again, just seeing if you're paying attention, folks. This is a 28-day cycle tracking, and nowadays I guess the only politically correct thing to say about it is if you are on any sort of cycle that cycles every 28 days, then this might be the device for you. It's got a remote camera shutter. This does not have a camera on the watch, but when you're connected to your phone via Bluetooth, if you have the camera open on your phone and then shake your wrist, well, the wrist with the watch on it, it will then trigger your phone to take a picture. You can pull in weather from your smartphone. It will pull this in when tethered, and it will actually keep this in storage here for the next few days. So that's kind of cool. It stores it in memory. It's got a stopwatch. It's got a countdown timer. It's got various alarms that you can set, and just to vibrate and wake you up. Torch basically just turns on all the pixels and it acts as a flashlight. That works fine. You can do a find your phone. It's got voice assistant. I don't use this with my phone, so I haven't really tested it, but I have no reason to believe it does not work. It's got a built-in calculator, a game feature. I don't know what this is. That looks like Floppy Birds or something, and I have no idea. I just don't play games on a smartwatch, folks. And then you're back to settings, back to the main screen. And to get the screen to come to life, you can either turn on the lift your wrist feature, or you just press this upper right button. Now, if I scroll from right to left, we can get into that activity summary mode. Back to your phone features here. This is sort of a dashboard that gives you your numbers, blood pressure, body temp, EKG, all the various things on one screen here. If we keep scrolling, here's an EKG or ECG measurement. To take this, you put your finger on the sensor, and I want you to watch this because a lot of these watches do a simulated graph here. This one appears to be real. It's not giving me the same thing every time. So this is a real-time EKG sort of strip recorder measurement. And this is really neat and a feature I've not really seen in a smartwatch yet, where it is a real-time trace of that EKG. I'm not a cardiologist. Go see a doctor, but it will generate some numbers here. Again, not a medical device. Don't trust it. But for, you know, tracking purposes, and you want to see, you know, relative measurement to measurement, you can use it that way. This is telling me I've got a low risk for myocarditis, which is good. Cardiac arrhythmia risk low. Coronary artery disease risk low. Arterial sclerosis risk low. Mental stress high. Fatigue high. These are consistently coming out high for me, but if I sit down at the end of the night and relax on the sofa for a little bit, these do drop down. So it's sensing some sort of difference. That's about the best I can say about it. Here's that blood glucose monitoring measurement. Again, this is not real. It's not taking a finger jab or anything like that. It's not an FDA-approved medical device, so don't trust it. And this graph, I will say, it generates the same looking graph every day, no matter when I eat, when I wake up, what meals I eat, whether I skip meals. This graph always pretty much looks the same. So I think that's a simulated graph. Here's the blood pressure. There's your blood oxygen saturation. Now I'm going to flip the watch on its side here, and you will see, well, it's on this side, folks. You will see it's using the red diode. It's really hard to see there, but trust me, this has the red and green diodes, and it is using the red diode right now for blood oxygen saturation. And I test this with a fingertip pulse oximeter device, and for comparative purposes, I'd say this is pretty good. It's always like up in the 90s for me, and that's what my pulse ox always is. Again, not a medical device. Blood components. This one blows my mind. How they even are attempting to generate numbers for this. It's some sort of light interferometry, or it's using the electric sensors on the back. I don't know what exactly it's doing. But look at these numbers. It gives you your uric acid. It gives you your total cholesterol in millimoles per liter. It gives you your triglycerides, your HDLs, your LDLs, which I don't believe it's doing this accurately at all. Not even for an instant, but the fact that the technology is at a place where they're making stabs at this tells me they're working on this, and somebody will eventually get there with this technology. So this smartwatch is really cool. This will do body comp. Again, you have to put your finger on the sensor for this one, and let's let this go. Now I use a body mass scale that I stand on with bare feet, and that one has become my gold standard, and it gives you BMI, body fat percentage. That's too high for me. I just know it. You can look at yourself in the mirror and look at body fat percentages online and get a sense just visually at how much body fat you're carrying around. And, you know, I'm somewhere in the 13% range, so 27 is way too high for me. Muscle mass, this puts me squarely in the middle. Subcutaneous fat has me at 19.1%, which is on the low side. Body water percent right in the middle. Skeletal muscle, bone mass, protein percentage, you know, like something like that. I don't even know what that means, protein percentage. Basal metabolic rate, this is telling me if I just sit around to do nothing all day just to keep my body functioning, I'll burn a little over 3,200 calories per day. And so that's all really cool, this body comp, but I don't trust especially the body fat and the subcutaneous fat. Here's your sleep for last night. And you can get more of an analysis. There's your weather, and then you see the hourly weather, and then today, tomorrow, and the next day after that. All cool stuff. And if we keep swiping past weather here, you are at the end of the watch menu. So, wow, I'm going to take a breath and come right back. That was a lot, but I just zipped through all the features on this ET485 smartwatch. As previously stated, the app here is called HBand. That's HBAND. I've reviewed this app many times before with many different smartwatches, and I like it. It's probably one of my favorite apps as well. You can get into the watch and get into the various features. You can see to sync the data from your watch, swipe down, and you'll see it reading the data from your watch in real time here. So that's what it's doing right now. We can get into some of my settings. Here you see the ET485. Here is where you can set up your various message notifications. You can do it here or in the watch. You can enable all, disable all. Obviously, the more you enable, the faster it's going to chew through your battery. Here are your alarm settings. Sedentary reminders, if you wish. It'll vibrate and tell you to get up and walk. A heart rate alarm. You can set that up. If it senses a high heart rate, it'll buzz. Here is where you would do the lift your wrist feature, but lift your wrist is called raise to wake in this app. Just keep that in mind. Pair device, I'm already paired. Bluetooth calls are connected. Dial settings, find your watch, contacts, blood pressure, private mode, blood glucose, and blood component private mode. Here's where if you have results from medically relevant sources, you can input these and it'll kind of calibrate the watch to your known good measurements. Whether that works or not, I don't know. I'm not going to go have my blood glucose tested or get a lipid panel just for a smartwatch review. And if I did that, I would keep that data private anyways. Here's that screen on time. Here are your weather settings. You can adjust it from Fahrenheit to centigrade, and you can choose to push that to your watch or not. Switch setting. This is your all-day heart rate monitoring, blood pressure, oxygen, blood glucose, etc. Here's the automatic temperature monitoring that I turned off to save battery life because I thought it was using it kind of quickly. Here is that feature where you would shake your wrist with the watch on it to trigger the camera shutter on your phone, and you have to enable the permission for that to happen. You don't usually do that when I'm reviewing smartwatches because I don't really want to give the app permission to all of my photos, nor do I sync all my contacts because I don't want the phone gobbling up all my contacts. That's just a personal thing. You can do a factory reset. It will give you your firmware version and let you know if that's the latest version or not, and you can do a reset. Okay, there's some help screens in here, permission settings, unit settings. I've got it set to pounds and feet and miles and degrees Fahrenheit. App styles, that's this app itself. And if we go into workouts, here's one I did the other day in the gym, and this just gives you the breakdown. Your estimate of kilocalorie burn, your time engaged in that activity, and your average heart rate. It gives you here's your calorie burn, your heart rate zones, and your amount of exercise. And that's about it. It's pretty basic. And here's a very quick one I did after work today. It's the same type of thing. You can go back at your heart rate trace and take a look at what your heart rate was throughout that workout. All right, so that's basically what it does. And if we go to the dashboard, the main screen here are my steps for the day, my time slept last night. Here are your sports modes, and there's the records of what you did, and you can scroll back through previous days. Here is your sleep, and it gives you the amount of time in total sleep, light sleep, deep sleep, REM sleep, awake times, preparation time, and you can get times awake, falling asleep, efficiency, and you can scroll back through previous days and get those measurements as well. And it gives you a little measurement of sleep quality here by giving you a certain number of stars out of 5. All right, that's all pretty decent. Here is your heart rate trace, and it will give you your minimum heart rate, your average value, and your maximum heart rate. And you can go back over the course of previous days and look at that as well. All pretty good stuff. Now, I do think my resting heart rate on this watch is a little bit low. I believe I'm usually around 53 to 54 beats per minute. This would put me into sort of like a super athlete range, and I'm definitely not that. I am an amateur athlete. I'm an average kayak racer, but I'm not a trained athlete. Heart rate distribution, quiet heart rate warm-up, fat burning aerobic, and again, you can scroll through the previous days to see where you spend time in those zones. All right, there's a little bit further breakdown in here, all good stuff. EKG readings, you can do them in real time from the app, or I can just open one up that I've previously done. I can hit play and it will play back that EKG waveform in real time. All right, it gives me my heart rate zone. It gives me my QT interval, and it will tell me whether or not I'm in the normal range. And here's heart rate variability. It tells you whether you're in the safe reference range or not. I'm not going to say too much of this. Go and do your own research on it. Heart rate variability. There's lots of information out there. This is a little chart that gives you your risk. This is from the EKG, and there's where I scored high on the mental and fatigue factors, but kind of away from all the myocarditis risk and cardiac arrhythmia and coronary heart disease risks. So, again, not a medical device, but it's very interesting, the data this provides. And here's your arrhythmia risk assessment, ventricular hypertrophy, sinus tachycardia, and, on and on and on and on. And it tells you basically if you're high, low, or medium risk. And everything is green here for me, so hey, I'll take it, even though it's not a real medical device. If we go back again, here is your blood oxygen saturation. You can go back over the previous days. Here's all your measurements on the top here. This gives you whether you're in the normal zone or what zone you're in. You can get into some more information here, and it will explain the terminology and sleep apnea and all that type of stuff. Blood oxygen saturation, respiratory rate, hypoxia time. This is generally when you stop breathing at night, and a lot of people are on CPAP machines for this exact condition. And cardiac load. And again, you can scroll back through previous days, so that's all pretty neat. Here is the blood pressure. Now again, not a real medical device, but it does that. Body temp, and I don't think I did one. Yeah, okay. I did one earlier today, so it gives you your maximum, minimum, and average. And again, you can go back through previous days and look at those measurements. Blood glucose trace. It gives you your maximum, your minimum, and your average. And if you look at this graph at the top, like I said, every day looks pretty much the same. The spikes are in the same place, of the same amplitude, such that I don't believe this is real at all. So don't trust it. I don't trust it, and I don't think you should trust it. And here is that blood components. This is kind of that quote-unquote lipid panel. Again, I don't believe this is real, but I find it amazing that it's generating some numbers here and that they're working on this particular technology. So there's your uric acid, and there is your cholesterol, triglycerides, HDLs, and LDLs. And that's about all I'm going to say about that. And here is your body composition, and these are the measurements I've made. Again, I think it's getting my body fat totally wrong, but it's kind of cool that it's taking a stab at this. So that's kind of it in the app. I like it. H-band. Now let's go back to the device. Let me press that button a couple times here, and let's get into the calling feature, and let's make a phone call. As soon as I find my phone, well, there it was, right there. So I can get into the keypad and do a telephone call. Now, this is where I've got to kind of stop talking so much so I can get these numbers right. And as I'm pressing these buttons, these numbers, the watch is vibrating a little bit to let me know that it's responding to that touch. Here it's making the call. On the right you have the volume control.
Hello, and thank you for calling Dave the Kayaker LLC, the new home of Westside.
All right, so it's got in a built-in speaker, built-in microphone that you can mute,
back to you as soon as possible.
and you can hang up. So you can make and receive calls right from the phone. This is not a SIM calling watch. This is not on a cellular carrier. It's tethered to my phone via Bluetooth. That's how it's making these calls. So you have to have it connected via Bluetooth, and you have to be within range of your mobile phone. So there you have it. It is the ET485 smartwatch. From what I've been able to tell, this might be the first full review on YouTube. So if you appreciate what you've seen here, go ahead and interact with this channel or this video in some way. This is one of my favorite smartwatches, and I can conceive that this one might reside on my wrist for a while into the future here. You see some electrodes in the back. It's got both the green and red diodes. It's IP68 waterproof. It's got EKG, ECG, Bluetooth calling, uric acid assessment, lipid assessment, body temperature assessment, SPO2, heart rate, blood pressure, sleep tracking, blood glucose, body fat, body mass, and it'll pull in weather. It's available on AliExpress right now for $27, which I think is an insanely low price. It's got a 466 by 466 HD display. This has been one of my favorites. It's been one of my favorite smartwatches. If I can get you a coupon code, I will drop a link below, so click through that. Now, I bought this with my own money, so this is a completely independent review. I can say whatever I want about this, and the little bit of ad revenue that I generate on this channel, I invest right back into the channel by buying health and fitness related devices, primarily smartwatches. You can go see all my reviews on my fitness tracker and smartwatch review playlist on YouTube. Otherwise, come check me out at davethekayaker.com, and I'll just give you a little heads up right now. Next up is going to be the ET482 smartwatch. It's going to be like a cousin to the one that you just saw, so I'm going to put this one on my wrist, wear it for several days, and come back with my full, fair, honest review very soon. But the ET485, I give it 2 thumbs up. I think value for the money. It packs a lot of punch. It provides a lot of information. Go check it out below. Thank you so much, and I will talk to you soon, if the good Lord's willing and the creeks don't rise.
When you want an extraordinary racing kayak made in the finest American tradition, or maybe just own a piece of American kayaking history, you want a West Side Boat Shop kayak, now available from davethekayaker.com. West Side Boat Shop kayaks. The tradition continues.